Claude Code 2.1 was released and it has some major upgrades, especially for those of you who already adapted and started using skills and are more of orchestrators of agents and skills these days. These updates are very important and very valuable, and this is going to be a very short video about the most important updates. You can find all the updates right here in the Claude Code repository in the changelog. I often check it out just to see if there's anything new. Specifically now, they published the newest version, which is called version 2.1. They already updated with a few more fixes and a few more nuances and features and updates. But I want to cover just a few of them, which I find are the most important ones. So first of all, they shipped something that is called hot reload, which basically means that now skills are immediately available as soon as you generate them. When previously you had to restart a new Claude Code session in order to have the skills at your disposal. So this is the first thing. Valuable, I wouldn't say it's a game changer, but it's valuable. The next thing I think is the most important thing is the context fork. Basically means you can run skills in isolated sub-agents, and I will show you in a moment what does that mean. Same thing, same concept when it comes to specifying sub-agents, and there is another concept related which comes to specifying models. And one more update for those of you who are not using necessarily English, so you can also specify the language. Now let me show you in detail what does each update mean. So skill hot reload, basically pretty straightforward. You edit the skill, as soon as you save it, it is immediately available, while before you had to restart Claude Code, test it and repeat. Next is the context fork. This is the most important update in my opinion. So basically from now on you are able to define, and I will show you, perhaps I will show you right here, you are able to define in the skill specification if you want to fork it as soon as the skill is evoked or invoked. Basically, what does that mean? If you have this context fork, it means that the skill will run in an isolated manner without the context of the main session. So skills run in their own conversation context and they don't pollute your main session. It also allows safety because you can test new logic without side effects. It's great for research or exploration, stuff like this. And it also cleans up the process. Forked basically means separate, and this is ideal for research skills, code analysis, complex data processing, anything that you would like to do externally from the main conversation and you only want the output of the skill. So as I said, you just need to add this to the skill definition, and the skill will run completely isolated and the main session only gets the final report. Here's an example. Let's say we have a code-based explorer. We define that we want it to be in an isolated session without like a context fork. We also define which tools we would like to use in this skill, and all the exploration happens in a forked context, and we only get the clean summary at the end. Same thing when it comes to specifying an agent. So from now on, you can use agent field to specify which agent will execute the skill. So basically, let's say we have the autonomous refactor. We can define which agent we would like to initiate as soon as we call this skill. So in this instance, we are calling an agent, we are defining what are the allowed tools, and we are also defining that the context will be separated. So basically the result is we fork the context, we use a dedicated sub-agent, and this allows us maximum control, and also it doesn't pollute the main context. Next thing is the language setting. Basically, what you can do, you can go to the JSON file which contains the settings, and you can define which language you would like to use in the responses. So basically, let's say I want Japanese, so all the responses will be in Japanese. So this is great for international teams and non-English documentation workflows. How does this look like? But pretty straightforward. Here you can adjust the settings JSON, or you can adjust a specific skill. If you want only a certain output in a certain, let's say I want only Japanese in a certain skill, so I can just adjust it over there. And all Claude responses follow the configured language preferences. Next, same concept with model. We can define which model we would like in each skill. So let's say we want to cut time, or we want to cut cost. We can define that a certain agent will use Heiku instead of Opus. So let's say we have a skill called Quick Lint. The description is fast code linting feedback. So we can define we want Claude Heiku, and the context will be fork, which basically will lead to using Claude Heiku instead of using Opus, saving money and making everything faster. Now, when to choose your approach, this is pretty self-explanatory, but let's just go over this very fast. So you use context window, context fork when the skill does heavy exploration or research. If there are multi-step operations that generate a lot of noise that you don't want to have in the main context. If you want to have only the clean output, or if you're testing a new skill logic safely and you want to separate it from the main context. You can skip the forking when your skill needs like a conversational context, if you go back and forth with Claude Code in order to proceed in the execution of the skill. If it's only like a simple one-shot operation that is not going to pollute your context, you don't need to fork the context. If you would like to see the skill reasoning, this is also optional, and this is kind of repeating myself over here, so interactive back and forth is needed. Yes, so that's pretty much it. Like, this is a quick summary of the updates. So before, when we wanted to edit a skill, we had to restart the session, and we lost context, and we had to kind of think about this before we edit a skill. Now, as soon as we edit a skill, it is already ready for us. We can immediately start using it. We also discussed the fact that we can add a fork for the context of the skill. We can define a specific agent to run the skill, and we can define which model we would like to use in the skill. And we also discussed the aspect of the languages. Let me see, did we cover everything? Yes. If you haven't already, make sure that you run the Claude update, and you will get the capability to start playing around with this stuff. I already started implementing the fork context for one of my skills. Still don't have the habit of using it, but this is very new. I think it was released yesterday or 2 days ago, and this is why I wanted to record this video. First of all, to inform you, and second of all, also so I would be like, when I teach or share what I learn, it also helps me learn and internalize the information. So I wanted to share this info with you guys, also for the benefit of myself. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Obviously, if you did, like and subscribe. Leave a comment below if you see this video after implementing some of this stuff and you already have good ideas how to use them. That's it. Until next time, keep on automating.